Yeah, we are on. Hello. Good
Hello.
evening, everybody. Welcome to another Blether with Libby Barmby Whisky Shop and guests. How are you, Kat? We didn't even get a chance to speak to you pre-show.
I
Jumped
know,
on.
but it's been busy. I've been at Visit Scotland conference for the last 2 days in Aberdeen. So I'm literally like out of Aberdeen, feed children, and like put on a jumper. And maybe I should have done my hair. Should have done my hair. And then you're like, okay,
I love it how
I'm
you put on a jumper for the show. You don't bother any other time. You just put a jumper on for the show.
I'm gonna, yeah. I mean, I was
What kind of
wearing.
show was it you were at?
Okay, I debranded and then put on. So yeah, I'm quite hoarse because it's been a lot of talking for the last 2 days. But yeah, I'm fine. I am
I can
fine.
imagine. Yeah, worthwhile though. Good show. Good exhibition.
Yeah, really, really good actually. Just such an amazing like array of things on offer in Scotland. It's absolutely fantastic to see, and it's so nice to just like get everybody together. Like
Yeah.
we all kind of recommend these places like castles, hotels, other distilleries, but it's just nice to get everybody in the same room and kind of promoting what we do. And because it's held in Aberdeen this year, like the Aberdeenshire section was really, really good. Because I think we're kind of not really promoted as well as other parts of Scotland, so it was nice to just kind of shout about all the cool stuff in this wee corner.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was a lot of talking. It was like speed dating for tourism because you get a 12-minute slot and you're just back to back, and then you get a lunch break. But it's a lot of talking. I wasn't even doing as much as the manager. So, but no, it was good. It was good.
Awesome. Happy days. So tonight we've got Libby Barmby on. So we're going to be talking all things Glasgow Distillery and beyond. So hopefully you guys at home have got your glass full. Cat is a pony, a little horse. Aww. Tell David is in dad mode. That's a dad joke if ever I heard one.
I think my spirit animal is actually a Shetland pony because I've got tiny little legs and I walk really fast and I've got loads of hair. So I do actually, I think I do resemble a pony, to be honest. And I also make noise if you scratch me behind the ear, but I don't know if that's related to being like a pony. Anyway. Ask me what's in my glass. I know you were.
I was going to say, well, where was I? What was I doing? So we'll ask everyone at home what's in their glass while they're typing away to tell us. Kat, what is in your glass?
Well, I don't know if anybody noticed on my Facebook, but I left a subtle hint about what I've got here tonight. So I've gone completely on brand, and I've got the tequila finish, which I'm really, really excited about trying. I absolutely love the box and I love the bottle. So I'm going to crack into that and see if it helps soothe my throat at the same time as well.
I mean, it won't do any harm. It can only improve.
It won't. And I think it's going to make me think of sunshine because honestly, it's like winter again the last 2 days. So I think a nice tequila finish. Miserable, absolutely miserable. So that's what I've
got. Dave on YouTube is not drinking tonight.
What?
James on Facebook is not drinking tonight. We're having a dry Thursday.
Gosh.
We can always rely on Willis, though. Willis is having the Speyside Distillery bottled by Moffat, 26-year-old. So he is having quite a treat on this Thursday night. And then he's going to follow that with a James Eady Aberlour 11-year-old. We have got the James Eady new range coming in. The new release is coming in very, very soon. So that's going to be fun. Just as a wee testament to Libby. Sorry, I've just had a naked Killian walk into the room. We're not putting that on the screen. So I'm just being distracted. The Filey Bay, I've got the Moscatel finish. So we'll talk to Libby about why I'm drinking that tonight. I'm going to introduce Libby. We're going to get her on screen. I have a child climbing up my leg just now.
Naked child.
It's my child. Yes. Hi, Libby. How are you?
It's not. I was going to say it's not usually, but it is actually.
There is no naked children, and I am not feeling like a horse. So I think I'm doing good.
You're winning.
Just out of the back. So
lovely.
You said hello. We won't show any bits, but say hello. Hello.
Oh,
We'll have to pixelate him.
I'm not sure if we could do that live.
funny.
What's his towel? Is he a narwhal or is he a unicorn
It's
or
an elephant.
an elephant?
Oh, very good. Why don't
Awesome.
adults get elephant towels? That's what I want to know.
We really should. Right, let's put you and your trunk away. Mwah.
Perfectly done.
Very funny.
Right. Well, there's been a host of comments come on as well. Big pour is starting with a Campbelltown Loch. Great stuff. I love these people who start with a dram. It's just like they're setting the bar. It's like, yeah, we're going to start with this, and we all know there's going to be more drinks flowing. Callum and Kate on Facebook, they are drinking tonight. Starting with SMWS 27.83. Springer from the past. Yeah, SMWS do some great stuff. And good morning to Rick from San Francisco. Great to see you, Rick. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Libby, hi. Sorry, I'm going to say hello again because of the child. So I heard you saying there's no horses and no babies.
Yep, no
Glasgow
babies.
Distillery.
We're all good. Just whiskey.
That's
Just
a good
whiskey.
place to be.
Just whiskey's enough, isn't it?
I can't get into my whiskey. Like your packaging machine is robust. I really want to
Can
use my.
somebody go round to Kat's house and we'll just get the invite out of the way early today.
Anybody good at getting into whiskey bottles?
You'll get that. I believe in you.
I'll keep working away. Talk among yourselves, everybody.
Libby has to be out of the distillery by 9 o'clock, Kat. So if you could.
Well, I'm getting there. It's just
Nearly there. Well done.
I know.
I'm pretty sure if
Have
you
you
just
ever heard
let
of-
twist and pull hard enough, it should just come off.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the 7 Ps, Kat?
Proper perseverance prevents piss poor. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
There we go.
I would have had it opened earlier, but yeah, I'm not long home.
She was too busy changing her jumper, so.
She's getting dressed for the show.
Trying to find the joining link, my stupid email, it just won't let me scroll down. I was like, is everybody here? Like, what's going on? Where's my joining link? But yeah, it's just one of those
Chaos.
days.
Absolute chaos.
I know.
Yeah. And welcome to the Blether. This is, people watch and they think this is all scripted. It's really, really not.
Car crash TV. Do you know what? I'll be a second.
We just hear the cellophane in the background crinkling away. She's given up. She's going to get a cup of tea instead.
Hey, at least we're entertaining, right?
Yeah, exactly. Rick has just commented there on Facebook.
Exactly.
This is so much fun for me. It's going to be. Donner passes too early where you are, Donner. Let us know where you are.
I was going to say there's
too early,
obviously
Sam.
some people coming from all over. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've got Rick from San Francisco. I'm sure Donner, I think he's America as well. So Rick normally cracks something open at 12 o'clock. So we've got about an hour before he'll crack something open.
Nice.
Are we in?
I'll just put you on mute for a second. Bear with me.
As she takes the hammer to the. Libby, thank you so much for joining us.
No worries.
We will get around to some form of conversation tonight, I'm sure. So you're brand ambassador for Glasgow Distillery, and you've previously done as you started your whiskey life at Filey Bay.
Yep.
Which I'm excited to be getting back up or getting into the brewery quite soon.
Nice.
We were planning on having a tasting with them at June the Speyside Festival. Unfortunately, we've had to rearrange that, so we're now got them up on the 1st of June.
Nice.
So how did it start for you? How did you get into whiskey? What was the kind of not just get into whiskey, but the career journey?
Well, you could say that I've always been in the food and drink industry. I started out at a fish and chip shop in a seaside town in Yorkshire, it was kind of expected, right? Got bored of the chippy and just kind of found the job up at Spirit of Yorkshire as a team member as such, where, you know, you're working in the shop, working in the cafe, you know, cleaning the toilets at the end of the night kind of thing. I was just working in the distillery, and started to learn how to do the tours, found a real, you know, passion for learning about it. Shout out to Chrissy, who's one of like the ladies that's still at Spirit of Yorkshire. I think she's pretty much done all of the tour trading for the past kind of 5-6 years, and I think she's sparked a lot of, you know, people's interest in the distillery of, you know, the kind of way that they make whiskey in Yorkshire. Sure. And I think for me it was really the new make spirit that kind of caught my eye. The fact that it's barley, water, and yeast that can be quite tasty, you know, was something that just kind of sparked my interest. And then so despite the accent, I was actually born in Scotland, and I was here for 10 years before I moved to Yorkshire, which hence why I'm more Yorkshire than I am Scottish, because I was in Yorkshire for about 14 years. And what I wanted to do was bring Burns Night to the distillery in Spirit of Yorkshire. And much to my boss's dismay, he said to me, if you can plan your Burns Night at Spirit of Yorkshire, you put the tickets up for sale, you do this, you do that, then we'll have a Burns Night. And of course, I went home that night and planned the entire thing and then put the tickets on the next day. And that kind of sparked me, you know, doing tastings and stuff like that, pouring whiskey, standing in front of people, talking about whiskey, which from then on, just kind of every time I talk about whiskey these days, sounds a bit cheesy, but I fall in love with it more and more every time. And that kind of sparked me kind of doing the whole brand ambassador kind of thing. I kind of went into a bit of a marketing role. Being the youngest in the distillery, I was the one that was like, hey Libby, do you want to do the social media? And then as I say, I've my roots are kind of in Scotland. My mum was still here over in Helensburgh, and I saw the job come up at Glasgow. I hadn't done university or anything, so I've kind of always been that seaside town kind of gal. And when I saw the job come up at Glasgow, my mum was already kind of here. I kind of knew Glasgow anyway, a lot cheaper than some other cities, and just kind of fancied that city life, you know, the bars, the restaurants, the rustle and bustle kind of thing. So here I am. A year and a couple of months later. So far, so good.
That's awesome. What was the timescale of that journey from sort of starting in the, you know, kind of tours and stuff to actually being the I joined Spirit of Yorkshire in July 2017, just after my 18th birthday. And I was there for 4.5 years. I left in November 2022, and I've been at Glasgow ever since. So that's me. It's July this year will be 6 years in the industry. So I started as a baby, and I'm no longer the baby, which kind of feels a bit surreal. There's a lot more younger people than me, Olivia being one of them in the industry. It was quite funny finding people my age in the industry, like, oh my god, you're as young as me, amazing. And now it's like a common thing because I'm not that young anymore in the industry anyway. You're definitely young. I'm probably old enough to be your mother. That's quite depressing. We've got a young lad that works at the distillery, and I worked out the other day that I actually am old enough to be his mother. I was like, oh my god, I've reached that age now where I could just keep hand drops in my handbag and pat people on the head, tell them they look cute. It's really depressing.
One of the guys I see a lot at festivals and stuff, Paul Main, he does whiskey toasts, works for Hunter Lang. And I've started calling him my whiskey dad because he's the same age as my dad, and I don't think he likes that either. Yeah, no.
I think that's the cool thing about the whiskey industry, though. It embraces like everybody from different ages.
Absolutely. Yeah,
It doesn't really
100%.
see like a sort of progression through age. It's a progression through experience, a progression through sort of self-improvement and stuff. And it just takes everybody from different backgrounds. Like, you know, you can meet people that have come through from a chemistry background or like a food science background, or people that literally just worked their way up from being a tour guide or, you know, everything in between. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic industry. It just kind of welcomes everybody, I think, doesn't it? And there's so many different opportunities within the industry too.
For sure.
Yeah,
I get a lot of comments with my Yorkshire accent talking about Glasgow whiskey though. Well, you're not from Glasgow. I quite often get asked if I'm from Leeds, and I don't think I'm that Yorkshire. Like, I know there's definitely a twang, but I don't think I'm quite Leeds Yorkshire.
there's a slight accent there for sure.
I can imagine I can imagine you're at that stage when you're in Glasgow, you sound very English, but when you go back and visit Yorkshire again, they're like, God, you got a bit Scottish about you. You sound
See,
Scottish.
A couple of drams in me, surrounded by Scottish people, and I soon go Scottish. It's funny, like as my voice raises, I go more and more Scottish.
So like by the end of the night, you're slapping your thigh and saying, "Oh, hi, the new."
Exactly. Very funny.
Yeah. I can just imagine your Glaswegian banter, but in a Yorkshire accent. Pretty cool concoction there. But you certainly got the red hair of a Scot.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like Glasgow's such an awesome place anyway. Like, you meet everybody in Glasgow. It's like one of those. I love going down to Glasgow. It's just the friendliest place ever. Even like a night out, like. It's just always such a good atmosphere. It's such a, if you were going to choose to build a distillery in a city somewhere, like Glasgow is definitely a good shout.
Yeah, no, it's I've really fallen in love with the city actually over the past year. It's been great. There's so much to it. Like, I've been here a year and I've barely seen any of it, you know. I suppose I was very busy working hard last year, kind of getting to know the brands and everything, but even then, just kind of you know, I get, as I said, like bars, restaurants and stuff. I've got like my favorite 3, and I keep on repeating going to them rather than trying new places. So I need to get out and about a bit more, but yeah, I'm trying to do that this year, along with some distillery visits as well. I've been to Deanston. Where else did I go? Glengoyne, which I should have done a long time ago, because Glengoyne was like a 20-minute drive away from where I live. So, and then I've done Port of Leith and Loch Lomond Distillery as well this year. So I'm hoping to kind of tick off a few this year, which should be nice.
Well, if you come up to the northeast of Scotland, we could recommend one in particular.
Yes.
Glendronach's fantastic. You'll love it. It'll be great.
It is also a very good distillery, yes. For anyone playing the game at home, we all know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
I was at the travel and Visit Scotland thing I was at today. I went over to speak to Glengoyne, because they were there, because obviously Rosebank and Glengoyne. And I was talking about how much I love the box, you know, because it's like the sort of the goose. So I tried to say to, obviously it was the end of the day, I've been speaking a lot, and I tried to say to the lady, I really love the branding. I love how, you know, with all the goose leaves all over it. And she kind of looked at me and nodded and went, goose leaves, feathers. I was like, yes, goose feathers.
She knew what you meant.
She did, but we both reached that point of like oversaturation. We both just nodded and went, no, there was something wrong with the sentence.
That's funny.
I hear that's why the geese migrate, is because come autumn, all their leaves just fall off.
Just lots of naked geese waddling around, feeling dead chilly.
Oh, funny.
Have you seen on the Glengoyne, you know, the G? Do you know it forms the head of a goose?
I didn't until you told me that.
I did not know that. No.
Is it a tittle you call it?
The what now?
It's a tittle, I think.
Yeah, sure.
The wee bit at the end of the G. But it's, in both the G's, it's
I
a
know what you mean.
goose's head.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know
I
that.
think it's called a tittle. A tittle, Title.
I'm
Well,
worried.
we'll all
I'm
just
scared
say
about
yes.
Googling it. Yeah.
Don't
Nod
Google
and
what is
agree.
a tittle because
Nod
you'll
and
get some
agree.
kind of weird. I wish I had a bottle of Glen. Well, here's a Glen Scotia, but
I see what you mean.
Here,
Yeah.
it forms the head of a goose.
Yeah,
on the Glen.
I'll have to look out for that. I really enjoyed it actually. I did the blend your own bottle.
Yeah,
really funny. There was a group of us, and we were doing, you like try all 5 kind of thing, and you mix your own little 20 cl bottle. And none of us were kind of talking to each other about what we were doing. And then when the tour guide was asking us, I was saying what I was doing, like, with my bottle. And my friend literally did the almost exactly the same makeup. There was like 5 ml difference in my bottle and their bottle. It was really quite freaky.
So very similar taste.
A very similar taste, obviously. I really enjoyed it. I think, if I'm honest, I've kind of really through the kind of my journey so far, I've kind of avoided sherry casks because I know that it's not really something that I kind of tend to enjoy. I'm more of a wine cask kind of gal. However, when I was trying these whiskies, I was kind of looking through the tasting notes, and I think it was like the 3rd one was like a European sherry cask or something. And it had all these notes, and I was like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna like that one, just from my experience kind of thing. And it was actually my favorite out of the 5, and I think that was kind of Glengoyne was the kind of whiskey that kind of made me realize that perhaps my palate's changed, and I am kind of into sherry cask these days. And it's definitely proven the point every time I'm had a sherry cask since. I've really enjoyed it. We had a tasting. I'm part of the Glasgow Whisky Club, and we had Cadenheads over there on Monday, and they had a Oloroso Kilkerran, 8 years old, I think it was, that's being released tomorrow, I believe, and it was absolutely delicious. So I definitely think Oloroso seems to be kind of what I'm swinging towards at the moment. But yeah, quite interesting how my palate's changed over the 6 years, because if you think about it, like, I grew up on whiskey that wasn't actually whiskey yet. Do you know, like, my introduction to whiskey was the Spirit of Yorkshire's maturing malts, which were basically just the whiskey before it was, old enough to be called whiskey. So that's kind of what my palate started on, and I've always kind of swung towards quite young whiskies due to it's what I know. Do you know if that makes sense?
Yeah.
So trying the older whiskies, I remember trying Glenrothes 18 quite early into my whiskey journey, if you like to call it, and I quite liked it, but I couldn't believe how different it was from stuff that like I was used to. It's almost kind of, an older whiskey to me was almost disappointing because it didn't have that kind of like, I don't know, fire to it, almost like the tingle to the tongue and like that kind of, so I mean, obviously I don't complain about older drams these days, but I think it's I've definitely, I suppose the industry as a whole has kind of come round to younger whiskies.
It's maybe a good place to start as well. If you're dealing with quite young spirit or new make spirit, I guess they're not that easy to understand to begin with, because they're usually higher ABV, so you really got to sit and think about it and work it out. So like once you've got that base, moving into like sort of the core ranges. So yeah, it's maybe just going to be like more beneficial for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can open up. Are you quite good at remembering what you've had? Because I'm so bad. I try different drams and I know whether I liked it or but I can never remember like what was that.
So
what was that?
My gosh, the drams that I've had in the 6 years are absolutely insane. I've definitely it's definitely a who you know, not what you know. For example, again, Paul Main, he's an absolute dream. Every time I see him, he gives me something that's like 10 years older than me, like, I've had some insane drams that I have no idea what I've drank kind of thing. So I decided this year Shout out to Brian at Malt Musings. He does like a spreadsheet, a whiskey spreadsheet. And I've started to kind of make note of things that I'm trying and trying to make sure I take a picture of things, and just so that I've kind of got it down somewhere if I am trying these, once in a lifetime drams that you'll never try again kind of thing. For example, the London Whiskey Show, we went the year after lockdown. I think it was 2021. We went to just kind of scope it out as we were going to go the next year with Spirit of Yorkshire. And I remember trying some sort of Rosebank at that point, and my boss was telling me like, savor this, don't waste a drop. And I've no idea what Rosebank it was, and I wish I did. But yeah, so I'm trying to be better at that, which is super geeky. Like, you should see these spreadsheets; they are intense. Like, it's all you have to do is kind of input what dram it was, like what distillery it was, and everything like that, and the age, and it all kind of like collates onto like the statistics sheet, and it brings it all together, and it's super whiskey nerd.
Imagine that a few folk watching are really appreciating that, thinking, "Oh, I think I need a spreadsheet."
Yeah, as I say, Malt Musings is on Instagram and Facebook and all that jazz. If you hunt him down, I'm sure I'll give you the link.
The Donna Pass whiskey, the advantages of youth. Way too old to. I was thinking when you said that you always get a whiskey that's about 10 years older, and you would love to enjoy a whiskey that was. I don't think they make them that old anymore.
That's kind of one of the reasons that Paul gives me them. He says, it's you need to do it whilst you're young. You get all these drams that are older than you, because it soon becomes harder and harder as you get older and older. So
definitely,
the crazy Englishman that loves a spreadsheet. He's watching on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Rick's on Facebook. He's watching on YouTube, on Facebook. He's saying Facebook captions are turning your drams into jams. So we're welcome to talk of
that's
jams.
The Yorkshire.
The finest jams known to humanity.
A spreadsheet dedicated to jam. I love that.
Oh, wow. That would be possibly a whole different level, wouldn't it? Like, whiskey's geeky, but imagine documenting all the different jams that you try.
I mean, surely once you get past raspberry and strawberry, you're tapping out. There's not that many other jams.
Oh, there's loads of jams.
Absolutely, loads and loads of jams.
Before we get into jam love, I want to say this is absolutely gorgeous.
I really I would have to agree.
It's just like really zingy. It's like kind of like, I don't know, lemons and limes, but there's something like really creamy in there, that kind of like sweet and creamy. It's just yum. Really, really.
Absolutely. Our triple distilled spirit is really quite kind of like light and citrusy and tropical anyway. So the tequila cask almost just kind of tripled that. See what I did there? Triple distilled.
Tripled it.
But yeah, so it just kind of vamped it up, and it's a super kind of refreshing whiskey. Would be really good in the summertime, perhaps in a cocktail, which is, perhaps good as a dram too, but I think it'd be quite good as a refreshing highball, something like that.
Back garden kind of,
Twisted a tequila sunrise or something like that.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah. Interesting.
Awesome.
Chris Brand is saying that Cat used to sell jams with drams.
Okay, right. I mean, I didn't make my own jam to take to Glengie. We have marmalade there, so I think that's what he's talking about. But
the fact that you think there's only 2 jams, I think your level of jam expertise is quite low. So I'm not expecting you to be making your own jam. Libby, we have Colin Stroud on saying hello from the attic.
Hello, Colin. Yeah, they invited me to the attic tasting last month, I think it was. Pretty good fun. That was also very they're very chaotic. There's definitely not a script.
I don't know what you're trying to imply. Are you making some sort of comparison there?
The best kind of tastings for sure.
Absolutely. We've got Antia watching. She's saying, hello, beauties.
Hello, Antia. Congratulations to you on your new role, and come and see us sometime soon. We need to get you back on
Alex's new European brand ambassador, European brand manager, I think.
Amazing.
So,
which reminds me, technically, I'm not a brand ambassador. My job role is the marketing executive. But
that sounds
you
so
could
much cool.
/sales / brand ambassador / lots of other things.
Okay. So, guys, if you've got this far, thank you. But we're going to retitle. We're not retitling. We're correcting an error. Libby's the marketing executive, not even a manager. That sounds. I mean, I can just see just with that title alone, our viewing figures are going to go through the roof. Yeah. Every distillery's got a brand ambassador.
Yeah,
not every distillery has a marketing executive.
Have you ever had a marketing executive on one of these?
I don't think we have.
I mean,
we have. I'm glad I changed my jumper, to be honest. I've been underdressed for this.
Oh, funny.
So, as a marketing executive, do you have a say on the bottle toppers and how they're wrapped?
Do you know, it's a big thing. The cork in our bottles are such a big deal because they're really nice. Oh, and it's like, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's a torque, so you have to like twist and pull, and you like twist it back on. Now we could change, like, do a like a tamper seal or something, but that would cover the cork. So who knows? We'll see what happens in future times to come with the updates of branding and things. But I think the cork is such a kind of like thing that people like.
Yeah.
So
I love that, just a little attention to detail, that just things like this that really gonna make certain bottles stand out and make people think, oh, that's very cool.
We did get a lot of compliments actually on the bottle, which is quite nice. So
it's an awesome bottle. It's like very industrial vibes, because it's almost like like the sort of riveted girders in the bottom, and like the sort of it's just like very Glasgow,
like,
isn't it? It's
awesome. Almost like it was meant to be like.
Right. I know, right?
Maybe you should be a brand ambassador.
Imagine that's not
as well. You need. That is exactly it. The idea is
I'd rather be
in like the. Yeah, who wouldn't? Yeah, no, it was exactly it. Bringing in like the Glasgow vibe into the bottle. We're very much the Glasgow Distillery. I've kind of been using this example for a while now. I was at the In Drinks show, not this year, but last year, doing like a talk up on the stage about like new, like upcoming distilleries, and there was myself, I think it might have been Emma from Lockleigh, and I think Nick Neon were there. It was I'm not sure if it was Matthew or if it was someone else. But anyway, Glasgow Distillery, Lockleigh, and Nick Neon. Nick Neon being organic whiskey, Lockleigh being filter bottle, and us being on the side of the M8. I was like, how on earth do I compare, like go up and talk about Glaswegian whiskey when I'm on a panel with an organic whiskey and a filter bottle whiskey? But that's exactly like what we do. We're a city distillery, contemporary urban distillers, as we call ourselves. Very much, telling Glasgow's stories, Glasgow's history, Glasgow's people, despite myself. And yeah, very much the Glasgow Distillery. So.
And it's been well received locally, the Glasgow.
Back in 2 seconds. I'm waiting to run out of battery. Sorry, I'm.
Yeah, no, it does well. There's a lot of people that mistake us for the Clydeside, would you believe? I think that they see a distillery in Glasgow and think, oh, Glasgow Distillery. But yeah, no, I think we're not open to the public, so there's a lot of people that kind of miss us. It's an easy mistake, I suppose. We're nowhere near as pretty as the Clydeside. Very much more behind the scenes, industrial Glaswegian distillery, you know. But yeah, no. Last year, we did a lot of pushing in the UK. I think the majority of kind of like our focus really in the first couple of years was overseas.
Right.
And then such a small team, it kind of made sense to have like distributors overseas kind of doing that job for us, if that makes sense. And then building on the team, which is kind of like was why I was hired, was to bring someone else on and help kind of shout about it in the UK, which has been my job over the past year, which has been crazy. We've done so many events and tastings and tours, and I think I figured it out. Nearly 50% of my weekends were spent talking about Glasgow Whisky last year. We've got 62 events booked in this year. That's more than there is weeks in the year.
Yeah.
And there's only me and my boss Seb that do it really. So we're run off our feet for sure. I'm on with you guys tonight. Tomorrow I'm in Troon. Saturday, we're at the Biscuit Factory Festival in Edinburgh, and then Sunday we've got a tour of our distributors here in the distillery as well. So it's no rest for the wicked, absolutely not.
No, it's pretty mental, isn't it? It's
absolutely, yeah, no, it's crazy, but good. I mean, it could be worse. We could be talking about jam.
we're going to have to do a jam and whiskey pairing.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite cocktails is gin and jam. So when you finish, you finish a jar of jam, instead of rinsing it out, you just fill it with gin and shake it. And
gin.
Yeah,
that sounds great. I use jam quite a lot for my toast, so I might do that actually. That sounds like a great idea.
It's such an easy cocktail. You don't need tonic, and you just shake up, and it could work with whiskey if you got something kind of a port cask whiskey or something like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
That sounds great.
Can I just check that you haven't been talking about jam the whole time? I've been looking for a charger.
We have been. We're waiting for you to come back because we know you don't like jam, so we just got that out of the way. we did also talk about toast.
Yes. A little bit about whiskey, but not a lot.
Fair enough.
Libby's just told us all the secret to Glasgow Distillery and life.
Yeah, you missed out.
Then you missed it.
You just have to watch it back.
The worst timing. I'll have to watch back. I'll watch
back. Rick is asking, will Liam be opening up the distillery to public tours anytime soon?
We'd love to open the distillery, but we just don't have the facilities to do so at the moment. As I say, we're very. I mean, we kind of thrive on that kind of being rough and ready, kind of what you see is what you get. But from a health and safety point of view, I think the way that I kind of see it and how we see it at the moment is, let's pump all this money into our brand, into our whiskey, into our products, rather than making the place look pretty. You could spend thousands of pounds. I don't know if it's a compliment or an insult, really, that we've been told that it'd take millions to make this place look good. Not quite thousands, but millions. So as I say, we're very kind of the complete opposite side to, for example, the Clydeside. It's absolutely stunning. The glass windows into the still house and everything. It's really, really pretty. And it's just not what we're focusing on right now. Where it's distilleries, you'll kind of have all these pipes connected up underneath you, and you're walking on mezzanine and stuff, and everything's kind of connected together. That's not how it works here. Where literally you remove a pipe from one thing and put it onto the other. The idea is that a human leaves their mark at literally every single aspect of the job. Hence why I'm up in the office, not on the distillery floor, because I haven't really got the guns for that. But yeah, so it's not really public friendly at the moment. And I'd say we want people to be here because it would make it so much easier to say, yeah, no, we're not the Clydeside, we're at Glasgow. Come and see us. You know, like it's so. One day
That's quite unusual.
Yeah,
for a new
absolutely.
distillery not to have that, because I think the way whiskey's gone, it's very much consumer orientated and telling the story and that, and so it's quite unusual for a new distillery to be on the go that hasn't got that visitor
Absolutely,
center.
yeah. It's been difficult, as I say, because
another one that hasn't got a visitor. I don't think of the last kind of 5-6 years. I don't think there's any that hasn't.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's quite rare for sure, but our focus is on our products. It's kind of how it's been. The kind of story behind us setting up. No single malt being produced in Glasgow for over 100 years. No new independent single malt distillery, should I say, for over 100 years. And we came across a place that was all the paperwork was already done. We're on a bonded site where we are at JG Russell's. It's one of the largest bonded sites in Europe. It goes like 2 miles down or something. It's massive. There's a lot of Scotch whisky being matured on this site, not just our own. Just ticked our boxes, fit some stills in, put some offices in, and it does the job perfectly for the range of award-winning whiskies that we've released from this little place just off the M8 next to Arnold Clark and Burger King. Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, what better neighbours to work next to? Yeah,
they say that the air where your casks are being matured makes a difference. The whole coastal vibes and everything. That's why ours tastes so good. It's the Burger King.
Nice and meaty.
Yeah.
And the
Ben
fumes
Mark
from the M8.
Ben Marks on YouTube, he's just mentioned it's in a lovely corner of JG Russell's worst warehouse complexion, but makes good juice.
Absolutely.
That's important. It makes good juice. Big Pour also on YouTube is saying, in honour of Libby, his next dram is the Glasgow Mantinea cask finish.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That made waves for sure. Got picked up by Dramface, and everyone just seemed to start screaming about it. People apparently we were in Robert Graham yesterday. Well, my boss was one of the shops in Glasgow, and apparently they've had numerous phone calls. Oh, we've just noticed that you used to stock the Manzanilla. Are you getting it back in stock, kind of thing? So, yeah, it's crazy.
It flew. I heard, yeah.
Absolutely.
Dave has got a question. Dave Parkinson, can you tell us about the bottles behind you?
So, the specific ones here that I laid out especially are our signature range. So we've got the triple distilled. So what we do at the distillery is we split our year into 3 different styles of distillate. So why do we do that? Because we can. And it was also something that the original Glasgow Distillery did. So it gives us so much that the power of 3 distilleries all under the one roof, So the triple distilled is that, kind of traditional Irish style of making whiskey. Obviously, the Auchentoshan do it as well. It's just, much lighter in, I suppose, colour, complexity. It's the breakfast whiskey. For those people in America, you can drink that. The original is the kind of the heart of the distillery. So this is our double distilled unpeated. If you're only going to try the one whiskey from Glasgow Distillery, this is the one to go for. It's my personal favourite. It starts off in ex-bourbon and is finished in virgin oak for 6 months. The virgin oak for me kind of brings it this like tingle on the tongue, which is something that I quite like from a whiskey. It's sweet from the bourbon, and then there's like that kind of bit of spice that comes through from the virgin oak. So it's a really well balanced dram. When it goes down, you've had a whiskey, but it's not hot. It's just perfect, in my opinion. And then, last but not least, we've got our peated, which is probably one of our most popular drams. Is double distilled, peated. I think that's what we're producing at the moment, actually. So the majority that we produce is the double distilled, unpeated. Second to that is the peated, and then the least that we produce is the triple distilled. The peat, I think the colour brings a lot of people in. For a 3.5-year-old whiskey, that's pretty awesome. Again, kind of showcases the quality of cask that we're using. We're not putting the money where it matters. We'd rather spend the money on these quality casks than flicking some paint on the walls. 6-month finish in the PX, between 6 and 9 months, kind of varies upon batch. Super sweet. It's like a sweet smoke rather than a peaty smoke, if that makes sense. We use peat from Aberdeenshire rather than the islands, so a bit softer, more floral. There we go. I think I just answered that question. Where does the peat come from for the peat release? There we go. I was already answering it. So it's the Highlands we get it from. And then on the little shelf behind, there's kind of like our range of small batch series and stuff, which is what you're drinking, Kat. So the 3 different styles that we produce, the triple distilled, the unpeated, and the peated, we showcase them in the signature range, but then what else can we do with it? Where else can we take it? For example, tequila, Tokai, Calvados, Manzanilla. The list is endless of things that we can do. It means that we truly have something for everybody at the distillery. If you think if you're making the one spirit and you've got port casks, no cask is the same. They're all going to be different. However, if you've got triple distilled going into a pot cask, the unpeated going into a pot cask, and the peated going into a pot cask, you've got 3 completely different whiskies. Something to kind of showcase that would be the 3 different styles of Tokai that we've done. So we did Tokai triple distilled, Tokai unpeated, and Tokai peated now. And if you tried the 3 side by side, I think that really kind of shows you the difference of the power of what we have under the one roof here in Hillington. So
that's pretty cool. I think it's important, and much more distilleries are kind of looking at and maybe a little bit simpler than what you've got there, but doing a peated run and trying to entice the peated fans to maybe a space. Somebody's traditionally unpeated. But that's pretty cool. Hope that answered your question, Dave.
Yeah, I know. Me ramble on. What do you mean? It's really cool to have the 3. I think that's something that I've really enjoyed talking about. Being at Filey Bay, you had that field to bottle story, which is second to none. It's really rare in the industry. You can probably name on one hand how many distilleries can say that everything in that bottle is 100% their own. But I've really, really enjoyed talking about the 3 different styles. I just think there's so much to talk about, because no whiskey, obviously no whiskey is the same anywhere, but I just think how different it can be. If you tried this triple distilled next to the triple distilled tequila, they're completely different. Well, not completely different whiskeys, but you can see what we're trying to do with the different styles, and it's really fun. What we do is when we're kind of coming up to the next round of releases for the year, if that makes sense, we'll have Seb, who's my boss, Mike, one of the founders, and our head distiller Alex will sit in here for a couple of hours and normally kind of wobble out of the tasting room after they've done all these different tastings for what's going to be released next. And what happens is, once they've kind of gone through that first initial tasting of that's tasting good, let's think about releasing these sort of thing, and we then get given them as a team, hey guys, there's a bottle in the tasting room, not in the tasting room, sorry, in the lab, can you take a sample, give us your tasting notes and bring it together. So all these tasting notes that are on the bottle of the tequila, we've done as a team, and it kind of gets highlighted of the ones that are kind of most common. So it's pretty cool. Nice little thing to be involved with. There's a small distillery. There's only about 16 of us So yeah, it's pretty cool for sure. I've really enjoyed that aspect of it.
It can be quite intimidating as well. Like, kind of, is that being put in the spot sometimes? Like, you know what you can taste, but it's like trying to find like the right words for it. And
The right
I'm
words,
sure all of you,
absolutely.
yeah, and I'm sure all of you would have like similarities, but you'd all have something that your palate was picking out that was unique to you as well. So I always find that
100%.
interesting. You can have a yeah, and can all get something slightly different.
Yeah.
So I guess it's trying to
rather
together.
than one person trying to tell you, what you should taste. It's a multiple of people. Yeah, it's good. I agree.
Gives you lots of scope educationally wise as well. I mean, you've got that one spirit, but you're dealing with like a peated one. You're dealing with a triple distilled one. Like for you to talk to, for bar staff training, for bringing people to your brand. You've got so much there to work with, to play with. You're guaranteed there's going to be something for everyone there. To start them out in their Glasgow, journey, which is for you must be a really handy tool to have, and yeah, a lot of fun to talk about.
Absolutely. So nice little story actually. I wasn't really into peated whiskey, would you believe, when I first started drinking whiskey. And I was on holiday visiting my mum back in Helensburgh when I was still living in Yorkshire. And I don't know if you've heard of Stevie's Drams in Loch Lomond Shores, little independent bottle shop. And I walked into the shop, and would you believe the two people in that shop that as I walked in were talking about Spirit of Yorkshire, and I was like, shut the front door, I work there. And Stevie was saying, yeah, we've just had some samples sent over, it'd be good to get the bottles in, blah blah blah. Do you want a dram? I said, yeah, absolutely, yeah, whilst I'm here, what have you got, kind of thing. And he poured me something blind at the time, not knowing what I was drinking, and it just so happened to be the Glasgow 1770 peated. Who knew that a couple year later, can't remember, I'd be working for them. Do you know? It was such a surreal moment of, like, I'd say, walking in and into a place near where I grew up, and there was someone talking about the place that I work at in Yorkshire, and then being given a dram of my future distillery where I'd work. Do you know, it was quite interesting. And it was the whiskey that kind of got me into peated whiskies, really. It's a really kind of soft, I'd say that Aberdeenshire peat, I think it really makes a difference. And obviously the influence of the sweet PX, it's a perfect kind of peated beginner, which I've converted quite a few people with. I don't really like peat. Oh, well, just try it, do you know? So, yeah, it's good.
I think when you try and introduce somebody to peat, and people automatically think of that iodine, that TCP, that kind of Lafroig's-esque, which is, in my opinion, it's great whiskey, but it's very niche, isn't it? It's
absolutely, yeah.
It's probably the bottle that if people have tried it, they're like, oh no, that puts me off peated whiskey altogether.
100%. There is a difference. Yeah.
Sorry, Kat, you were going to say something. She's oh no, she's back. Is she back? She's moving. Are you with us, Kat? Are you still here?
Bloody internet.
Are you trying to open another bottle?
Just honestly, I've got the worst internet in Scotland. If anybody wants to sort of club together for better broadband for Huntly, I'm all for that happening.
Oh man. Every week.
We were saying, have you got something to say about the peated?
I'm sorry. I've always got something to say about peated whiskey, but I missed the context of what I meant to be saying.
I think I interrupted you by talking about the.
I was losing internet by then. No, it's fine. My internet's so shit. I'm on a delay, so literally, I'm 5 conversations behind. I'm still on jam.
Fine.
Brilliant. We've got Ben watching on YouTube. He is saying that Super Seb is the hardest working man. It's a key word, working man in the
yes, absolutely.
He even showed up at the Manishire Festival.
He did.
Brilliant. Alistair Gray is watching on Facebook. He says the Glasgow Manzanilla is a belter. His favourite whiskey this year so far.
Absolutely.
He's sitting in the sunny Ivory Coast just now,
Wow.
watching.
Dedication.
So yeah, not bad for a Turaloo. But he's a big Glasgow whiskey fan, so he'll be delighted to hear that we should have some of that spirit on our shelves very soon.
Absolutely.
So, Alistair, next time you're in, we should have a range of the cask finishes and a couple of the core ranges. And the rum as well, Banditi rum.
Yeah, Banditi, absolutely. Yeah, that's
is that on site or is that imported in?
So it's rum made from pressed sugarcane, which has to be distilled within 24 hours. So we buy the rum from Madeira, and then so it's distilled over there, comes to here in Glasgow, and what we do is we stick it straight into cask for a couple of years, come out of cask, spice it with all fresh fruit, fresh ingredients. It's all natural ingredients that go into it, and then filter that out and put it back into cask for our spiced like core rum. And then we've done a couple of like limited editions as well. I think we've got a couple more limited editions coming out this year as well. Like we're not just doing the experimenting with the whiskey, but we're experimenting with the rum as well, having a bit of fun with it. I think we're not just making these releases for our customers, but we're kind of selfishly doing it for ourselves as well. As kind of spirit enthusiasts, we want to make tasty spirits, and just kind of seeing where our stuff can go is quite fun. So we've done a peated rums. What we did is the Banditi spice went into our ex-peated casks, and it's Smoky Rogues is it called. What is it? Ban Peaty was off the tables apparently, but we thought that would have been quite cool. But yeah, so having fun with that. We've done a golden rum that's finished in a pot cask, which, funnily enough, is very jammy. But then we've got a couple more in the pipeline, like PX finishes, all these kind of funky stuff. So yeah, looking forward to it.
That sounds cool. Yeah. We had the rum in, we've had Banditi rum in before. I didn't realise there was a connection with yourselves when we took it in, to be honest, but that would be exciting to get that back as well.
Something we're kind of trying to do more of is kind of when we're at shows like the whiskey festivals and stuff, is take one of everything, So very much so the whiskey is the focus, but look at all these other award-winning spirits that we produce as well, So it's interesting. The vodka gets a lot of love. I remember we went to Liverpool. I think it was the first time we'd been to the Liverpool festival with the Whiskey Lounge. And as you kind of go to a festival and you kind of see this wave spread about people's favorites, there was people coming over saying, "I'm here to try the vodka," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Turns out the Scousers love vodka, but so it's good to have them with us. And as part of the rebranding that we did at the start of last year, so that's this is kind of like the old branding, and then this new is from January last year, and the idea of that was kind of bringing all the brands together, kind of make it we kind of promote as the Glasgow Distillery rather than Glasgow 1770 whiskey, if that makes sense. So we're trying to make a bit more noise about the other products, and Banditi being one of them. I think we've kind of been saying for a good couple of years now that rum's on the edge of being the next big thing, but I mean it's definitely on its way up, but I don't think it'll ever be quite as big a hit as, for example, the gin craze that went on and things like that. So but it's definitely something that as you're walking into new bars and things and like promoting our whiskey, the rum is definitely something that perks people's ears up as well. So it's good stuff.
I think the gin kind of boom of the last 15 years or so, it's allowed drinks like rum, like tequila, to kind of really have a wee spot. And I do think, Rob, we've been saying it for years. I've had a pub for nearly 20 years as well, and we've been saying that rum's going to be the next big thing. And then gin came along, and then something else will come along. Tequila will probably explode, and rum will take a backseat.
Yeah.
But I think what gin has done really well is kind of 20 years ago, it was very much a ladies' drink, a gin and tonic, and probably a kind of middle-aged ladies kind of, that would be the demographic of what you perceive to be a gin drinker. Nowadays, it's all ages, it's both sexes, it's everyone is drinking gin. And what that's allowed people to do is say, well, I didn't like gin before, I'll try it, I like it. I didn't like rum, so I'll maybe try that. I wasn't a fan of tequila, so and it's broken down a lot of that barriers. And I think people are far more open. I think it's maybe a combination of that and lockdown as well, where people were sitting at home and they're like, well, go on, I'll give it a try. I've got nothing else to do. I'm not working, not driving in the morning, so give me a shot of tequila. We'll try it. But people are a lot more open, and there's access to information and stuff. So, and I think it's something that the whiskey can really work on as well, as breaking down that barrier, because we're still a little bit stuffy sometimes. Not the industry, but drinkers, a little bit stuffy about whiskey. We're still that, no, it has to be neat or a drop of water and that's it. Especially single malt.
The amount of people that come up to me and kind of just say, come back to me in 10 years, love. And I'm like, okay.
Do you get people asking, so do you really like whiskey?
Of course.
Yeah.
I know, it's funny.
But
we'll get there one day.
Yeah. Well, one day at a time, but it's great that it's now a much more open book for any spirit, really. People are kind of there, and a lot of these barriers are being knocked down. So hopefully it'll come back to whiskey, and we'll see. I think it's happening. It's just maybe happening slower than other drinks, because other drinks are kind of really designed for mixing, and mixing a drink in a cocktail or a long serve makes it a little bit more accessible for people who don't like strong spirits. Whiskey's still got that little barrier there that we need to hammer down. So get your drinks in a cocktail, guys, and don't be afraid to make an old fashioned or a rusty ale with a good single malt.
Put that on
There's
a
a podcast. Yeah, put that on cocktail for sure. There's a podcast that Rob from the Cotswolds does, Cotswolds Distillery, called I Want to Like Whiskey. And you'll get like different people on board, different brand ambassadors, things like that. And he'll ask them, how they got into whiskey, how their favourite whiskey cocktails and how it's made and stuff like that. So it's quite a good little resource. I think there's a lot of people, as you say, kind of, really being advocates for that these days. And I don't know if you've done the Johnny Walker experience in Edinburgh. It's a really cool little day. Yeah, so they kind of give you that the whole kind of idea of that is whiskey can be enjoyed in so many different ways, and the pick out the flavor profiles that you like, and then see what we can do with those flavor profiles. It's really, really cool. Our blended malt riot, that's kind of been made for mixing. That idea, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of started swinging more into jam to drink on its own, but the idea behind it was that it was great. Well, I suppose it still is great for cocktails, whiskey sour, whiskey highball, that kind of thing. It's definitely changing things. It's there's a movement for whiskey cocktails, but as you say, all good things take time for sure.
Yeah.
I think Rick's got his eye on your office for a tasting room for the public.
It's the only pretty part of the distillery, I promise you.
Just that one corner.
Literally. Yeah, the light's broken on the other side, so I use this. I know you. But yeah, no, this is like the one nice room that we have. As soon as you step outside, that's where all the high vises start. But yeah.
I like that about like city distilleries though, because like Auchentoshan, I mean, like it's just you come across it by accident. It's literally on the side of like some.
Absolutely.
I'm not very good at streets, but then you get into it, and it's like this sort of like hidden kind of gem because like they've kind of embraced the industrial vibe, but from the outside, or from the road, you don't particularly notice it. You would drive right past it and not realize that there's this like amazing little place.
I drive past Auchentoshan every day to get to work, so it's very easy to just drive past for sure.
I know. Well, I went to Auchentoshan with Mike's wife, Tony. We used to work together at Glengeary, so we'd gone to do all our other sites. And we did Auchentoshan on the way back. I was in charge of directions because like I'm not driving. But turns like I'm shit at directions also. We drove past it twice, and Tony's like, "Cat, it's just right there. We're now going to do the roundabout and come back around again."
Oh God.
But it's a cracking little place. It's I think just something nice about Lowland whiskey, just because it's just a nice kind of a way to get. It's a nice approachable whiskey. I think that's with it being triple distilled and great for mixing. Great for a standalone dram. I think it's just an easy sell when you're trying to get people to maybe kind of move out of one type of drinking and kind of experiment with whiskey a little bit. But it's also I think it's kind of bypassed a little bit as well. People go either straight for Speyside and big classic names, or they want to kind of do the big kind of smoky Islay ones, or they want to try the sort of heavier kind of Highland ones. And quite often Lowland whiskey just seems to be kind of missed out, even though they've got this really epic history, a range of different styles that's completely different from, you've got a lot of similarities between some of the regions, but Lowland seems to be quite distinct in a lot of ways. It's not really championed.
I think a lot of the new wave of distilleries come from the Lowlands, for ourselves, Lockley, Hollywood, I suppose Pot of Leith is in Lowlands now, King's Bands.
So many.
Glengoyne Highlands? Glengoyne's Highlands, isn't it?
I think the class is Highland. They're just on that border. They've got that wee...
I suppose they're not part of the new wave either. Lindors, are they Highlands?
No, they're Lowlands.
Just again.
I think they're
They are
Lowlands. I know that you cross the road to like where the remains are from like the monks and the history there is the Highland Lowland mark. But there's a lot of the kind of the new upcoming that are just kind of starting to make some noise or Lowland. So hopefully in a couple of years' time, it'll have that kind of, what's the word, love that it deserves,
Yeah, and I think a lot of what I've picked up on a lot of these Lowland distilleries, the new ones is they're kind of sticking to that classic Lowland style, whereas maybe some of the new Speysiders or the new Highlands aren't, or maybe doing things a little bit different. But Lowlands, you still get that kind of fresh, light, grassy, kind of malty note in it, and I think it's quite interesting that they're going that route. And keep into the traditions of the Lowlands.
We're doing a bit of both, we've got that kind of Lowland, and then completely going against the grain as well. So, not necessarily your classic Lowland style, but it's definitely in there, especially with the original. But it's good to see where it's coming. All these new distilleries are doing so much for the industry. I think it's crazy. So really, really good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You could spend a good holiday trying to get around them all. That's for sure. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like I would never be allowed to spend my 2 weeks holiday just doing distilleries.
My aim is to get to Islay this year. I've booked a week off in July to go after the festival, with the aim of getting some of the bottles that are still out and stuff. So
have you been before?
I haven't. No, it's it's definitely on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be cool. You'll enjoy it. My tip to anyone going to Islay is don't visit all the distilleries on your first trip, because you want an excuse to go back.
I see. I like it. Maybe just do one side of the island as such.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know Dave Brody. I'm assuming maybe had him on, or from Bunnahabhain, no. Dave Brody, no. He's one of the tour guides from Bunnahabhain. And yeah, it's got quite a name for himself, shall we say. He's a great guy. Does part of the attic with Colin. And he's also from Helensburgh. So there's myself, Dave Brody, and Kenny from Dram. Don't know if you know Kenny. Kenny McDonald, is it? So we're all from Helensburgh. We're all born and raised in Helensburgh, so we're like the Helensburgh crew. So me and Dave, and we kind of like we're on this like same wavelength, you know. So I've said to him when I'm coming to Isla, I'm gonna pitch a tent in his back garden. I said, you don't know this yet, but I'm coming to stay with you for a week. So I'm trying to do Isla as cheap as possible.
It's the way to do it. Yeah,
absolutely. More as many free tours as I can.
We've got BJ McGee.
You've got to do the classic. I don't know if you know.
Sorry, can't say that again.
I was going to say you have to do the classic of. I'm not sure if you know, but I actually work for Glasgow Distillery. When you turn up just to say, "Oh, really?
Do you know who I am?
Don't put that money away. Come on in."
The other lovely trick, there's DJ McGee saying some old pals in here, they did the Kildalton through, so the Ardbeg, Lagavulin, the Freugen one trip. If you're going to do something like that, when you go to any of them, when you walk in the door, you say, "Oh, I've just been to Lagavulin and it was the best distillery tour I've ever done." And it just fits the bar, and they're like, "We're going to beat that." It's great fun.
My favourite is probably Kalila. I think I found a love for Kalila just after kind of getting into peated whiskey. That kind of sweet peat, you know, is what I really enjoy. And I think I've heard so much like disappointment around the distillery because it's very kind of, you know, Johnny Walker-fied rather than Kalila, you know. So I mean, I'm sure it's still a fantastic tour, and I'm looking forward to going, but. Apparently very kind of, you know, dipped in Johnny Walker.
Yeah, I've heard mixed things about it. I think it's something like I think that maybe people who are so used to original Kalila, it was quite not old fashioned, but maybe not as touristy. And I think it's just gone instead of a gradual change. I think it's just gone from one, you know, traditional straight into like bells and whistles, and it's just been maybe
perhaps just a bit much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it'll be on my list.
We have a relative viewer saying hello to you, by the way. I don't want to miss the comment. But
yes, quite possibly.
Definitely worth seeing.
My stepmom.
I think we've got
Diane.
Is
that mum, is it?
That's my stepmom, yeah. Funnily enough, she's actually from Glasgow as well. Right. So when in lockdown, the house got very Glaswegian because we only had each other to talk about, or talk to, should I say. So she'd be, you know, with her Glaswegian accent, and I'd kind of just bounce off her. And it's funny, you know, when I'm on the phone to her and stuff, like I'll be in the car with my pal or whatever, and you know, she'll come through, and all of a sudden I'll turn Scottish as I'm talking to her, and then as soon as I hang up the phone, I'm back to being Yorkshire. It's funny how many friends say that. Like, wow, Diane's really Scottish, and I'm like, is she? I don't really hear it, you know.
yeah. Accents are funny. Yeah. Well, hello, Diane. Sure. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, Diane.
Hi, Diane.
She's just checking you're behaving. Yeah, just making sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
We've got some great comments coming in. Rick saying you have to do the Warehouse 9 tasting with David, and the Warehouse tasting at Bunnahabhain.
Of course, I'll do it all eventually. Maybe not this time, as we say, but.
Willis is a fellow Yorkshireman. He says it's God's own country. I think everyone from anywhere says that their own
God's own country. Yeah, you can take the laughs out of Yorkshire, but you can't take Yorkshire out the laughs.
Good evening. Duncan has just joined us on YouTube. You're not late, Duncan. We're just getting started. I'm saying it's quite a night on YouTube. So we've got ourselves, and then following this, we've got Kevin does whiskey. Is just on straight after this. Kevin Grant, I don't know if you watch his show on YouTube.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
And then Aquavite, Barflies is on at 10 o'clock there, coming live from Dornoch, the Thompson brothers. So that's going to be pretty cool.
That is cool.
So yeah, we don't need telly tonight, guys. Just in your laptops or
fill up your dram.
You get tellies now, don't you? You get YouTube on TV.
Yeah, get it all over.
Get your excuses in for work tomorrow early.
David's usually sorry, my internet. I was going to say, David's usually watching us on a large screen in his loft somewhere or in his bath, isn't he? He's got like a massive pull-down projector that he usually watches us from, like a cinema screen in his loft.
Cool.
I thought he had a pull-down projector in his bath. That would be pretty weird.
It is,
yeah.
We don't know he doesn't.
We don't know he doesn't. No, he's never sent us a photo of his bathroom for some reason. I'm pretty sure we don't need to see that, David. So don't get any ideas. If you're in the bath, we believe you. We don't need
turning my phone off. Turning my phone off now in case.
We've had enough naked bodies on here tonight already. We don't need any more.
See, anyone joining in after is going to be like, "What did I miss?" Definitely going to rewind and go back to the start. Yeah.
Goodness me.
I did warn you, Libby, that we go off on tangents. And not all of them make sense.
Let's get back on topic. Right, strawberry jam or raspberry jam? What are we voting? Apricot jam's not even in the question for me. Like,
no. Apricot jam, it's more like a marmalade than a jam.
Yeah, come on. Just kidding yourself. Funny.
Oh, no, brilliant. So Ben Marnock's just pooped off. So Kevin Grant is Roy Duff's cousin. So Roy Duff, obviously, of Dramface and Aquavite. And is Tomatin's latest recruit.
Yeah, that's how I know him, I think. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Simon. What's his last name? Can't remember. Simon's the whiskey novice. And he's just become Tomatin's one of Tomatin's brand ambassadors as well. And I think they did the course together, him and Kevin. And I think just beforehand, I'd seen Kevin because he'd done a post about the Manzanilla. And I think I have met him at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, it seems to be a name that kind of seems to come up quite a lot these days. It seems to be that Tomatin thing that they did was awesome, bringing on these brand ambassadors to, I think they're like, a couple of people. I think Kevin's obviously based up here and Simon's down south. And the idea is, just kind of train them up to do tastings and stuff, but they were treated like kings apparently. So if you can.
Yeah, sounds cool.
To be a brand ambassador with Tomatin for sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm heading to Inverness in May, and I'm hoping to maybe stop in on my way up. So
that'd be good. We were up that way about a month ago, and we had the choice of either Glenord or Tomatin. We didn't have time to do both, so we went to Glenord because it was closer to where we were.
Nice.
Next time it'll be Tomatin. So Callum Renton's told us it's Simon Burgess.
Burgess, yeah, I did know that. Did know that. Just forgotten. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing so staying at Inverness one night and then heading to Elgin because I'd really like to do Glenmoray, and then potentially kind of go from there to back onto the A9.
Yep.
That you come down. So I did do it last year when I was in Inverness. And I did Glen Turret on the way home, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I went past all these other distilleries, not really knowing that they were on the A9. And I was like, why have I only booked into one distillery? Like, what am I doing?
You should instead of the A9, get on the A96 and come and see us.
Yes, sounds like a great plan. Eventually, you'll get me over.
Absolutely, yeah.
That sounds good. If we have time amongst the 62 events that we have this year.
Yeah, just sneak it in there.
That's a lot. That's a lot. It can be really hard to fit in more than one whiskey distillery though. Like, see, if people are up at Speyside, like you can get two in a day really, but quite often you're pushing it, and it's hard to fit more than one in comfortably. I mean, it's all right for with Mike, he does the sort of, you do whiskey tours for people, so I guess it's easier if you've got a bus, but I'm sure even for you, Mike, it's hard to get people herded back into the bus. Yeah. But it's I think you would fit more than two in, to be honest, comfortably in one day and enjoy it, because you want to be racing out the door with your dram in hand.
See, weirdly, I'm kind of one of the whiskey geeks that I'm quite happy to just do the tour. I'm happy to just take in the information and look at their pretty stills and stuff and take the drams home with me. Not really there for the whiskey. I'm more there for kind of learning about the distillery, which is maybe the wrong side of geekiness to be on.
That tends to be the opposite of the guys we take out of tours.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. We had a group of Norwegians over last week, and they were with us for 4 days. Hello, Ivan and Venki, if you're watching. So there was 13 of them, and we organised 6 distillery tours, and then they had a day where this is spent in Elgin. And it got at the start of the tour, it got to the point where they were saying to the tour guide, "We don't care about." It's not that they don't care. It's just we know how a mash tun works. We don't need to hear about the food waters. We don't need to hear about. Give us, we want to see it. We want to take photos of it. That's great because it's different. It's new. Tell us your story. They were more interested in the history and the story of the distillery rather than the process. And then they just go in the tasting room and enjoy the drams. And I think for them, it was just because they paid some of the premium tours. I think that's when we talk about a premium tour, really all you're getting is more of the whiskey or more of the higher end whiskey. Whereas for me, a premium tour should probably be more about the story and more of the experience and maybe a look in the warehouse or something like that. So there were very particular, we don't need to know that. Let's go and do that, and we can do this. It was good fun. It was great. But yeah, I would say I'd agree with Kat. 2 distilleries, comfortable. If you're because you want to relax. You don't want to be right, jump in the bus and we're going to. But we have so many people who phone us and say, okay, we're going to go to Speyside and we want to visit 5 distilleries. You're like, well, you can, but you're not going to enjoy them. You're going to be off the bus and. But they are combating that, I guess. They're doing tasting experience, so you can go in and there's a bar there. So Glenallachie, for example, or Cardew, there's now there's a bar there, so you can just go in and have a couple of drams, maybe spend half an hour there, and then jump in the bus and move. So a lot of people are catering to that now, so it is possible.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I'm doing it at Campbelltown for my birthday, I think.
Oh, nice.
That'd be nice.
You'll enjoy that.
Sorry, what were we going to say?
Dave's on YouTube. He's asking, are you coming to the Aberdeen Whisky Festival this year?
With the Scottish National Whisky Festival. Yeah, we should be. I quite enjoyed that one last year. It was red hot. I don't know if you remember, Kat. It was so warm. But I did enjoy it. Yeah, it was good fun. Gareth's a great guy.
Yeah, I went straight there. I went straight there from work, and I hadn't had any dinner because I thought it said there's going to be food there.
Right.
And it was so bloody hot. I think I bumped into Antea to begin with, and then after one dram, I was like, Jesus, I need to hydrate. I think by the time I grabbed hold of you, I was like, oh my God, my name's Kat, I do Blether. Let's be best friends forever.
Exactly. Yeah, no. I think
it's only taken about a year for Libby to calm down enough from that experience and join us. She's been scared ever since.
Probably.
It's funny. You wouldn't expect to have so many festivals in Scotland where you're red hot. There's been a couple that's been, absolutely maftin. Maftin does mean really warm, but I think it's a Yorkshire word, so.
But did you say Mastin?
Maftin, yeah, Mafting, Maftin. There you go. You learn something new every day. I said back in the office, and Alison in logistics, she was like, "What?" I was like, "Maftin, it's warm."
It's not something I've heard of before. Willis will have heard it. He's a Yorkshire lad. He'll have known. He'll know what you're talking about.
Very funny. But yeah, no, it's I've been quite pleasantly surprised by the weather in Scotland. Actually, I think you just kind of get used to the rain, don't you?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if it's,
I mean, you're Glasgow, where you've got a bigger rainfall.
Yeah, it's very wet in Glasgow. It was horrible today, and then by the time it's like 5 o'clock, the sun's out, and you're like, "What are you doing?" It's the end of the day.
Yeah, it's rained so intermittently with us. This like today and yesterday, it's glorious sunshine, and then 2 seconds later, it's hammering down with rain, and then it's like a minute later, it's sun again. You're like, it's that you plan for going for an ice cream, but you put on your waterproofs before you go. It's like, what the hell is going on?
A couple of weeks ago, I got sunburn on my cheeks. Went out for a walk, and I got some sunburn. So I think this might sound silly, but I feel like the sun's a lot more direct in Scotland. Like in Yorkshire, I'm not burning until like July. Do you know? With my very fair skin, but yeah, out for a half an hour walk in Glasgow in April, and burnt to a crisp.
There tends to be wind burn I get in Scotland.
Yeah, it's quite possibly that ginger that even the wind burns me. Yeah.
So what's coming up, Libby? What is there anything exciting that we can keep our eyes out on? You mentioned that there's a new range of the casks, just about there. Is there anything else we could be? I think Dave Ferguson did ask a wee while ago. We maybe missed a comment about cask strength. Would there be any chance of cask strength?
Yeah, so we did the cask strength version of the original and peated back end of last year, and yeah, they were a real success, especially the peated. Was absolutely amazing. So yeah, we are hoping to do that again. That was like a batch system, so this will be batch 2 of the cask strengths. I think we've got obviously I'll keep secrets, but I'm not very good at keeping secrets, so it's a bit rubbish that you've asked. But we are currently in the process of tasting more samples that have been left in the tasting room for upcoming releases, which is quite exciting. So yeah, we'll have more of that. Okay. What else this year? I suppose, yeah, I'm out and about on the road quite a lot. So, can catch us at festivals and things. The team's going to be expanding this year, which is quite cool. It's quite a big year, really, for us. We're quite physically expanding. We've just got the space next door to us, starting to rent that out with the idea of kind of making it a bit of like a cask, like a warehouse kind of thing, like a finishing warehouse or something. And yeah, just kind of growing, not only within the team, but quite physically in Hillington as well. And then, some new releases with the rums. Obviously, lots of upcoming stuff with the whiskies, but I think that's about it.
Awesome. Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds fun. And exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And obviously you've got a new shop stocking your products very soon as well.
Of course. Yes. Yeah.
That'd be great to once you're in, we can maybe organise a barrel top or something.
Absolutely.
Obviously you guys are
See, the thing is, we have so many events booked in because it's me and Seb that books them in. So we obviously just hate socialising. What's that? A free weekend? Let's get something booked in. We do it to ourselves, So I'm sure there's something that we could solve for sure. Especially if I can do a whiskey tour visit on the way around.
Exactly. Yeah.
Book something in.
Mm-hmm. So Kat's disappeared. So
she has.
Typically,
I'll have to get her jam.
Yeah. She's away to plug in the hamster and get him running again to power up the engine. So what I think we'll chat on for another 5 minutes and see if she comes back. And then otherwise we might say cheerio, because I know that there's a couple of guys on who are maybe wanting to jump over to Kevin and Jeff's
no worries.
Chat. There's just so much on tonight, which is pretty cool.
Happy to jump off, no worries at all.
Yeah. So yourself, let's talk about yourself. We've done your intro. We've done a lot on the Glasgow
Yeah.
Distillery and things. For yourself personally, you walk into a whiskey bar. You're not allowed to pick Glasgow. You're not allowed to pick Filey Bay. What do you what do you drink to unwind or to relax?
I've kind of been loving Loch Lomond a lot recently. Just noticed they've literally just released a new distillery edition, which I may potentially drop for. Yeah, quite like the Loch Lomond stuff. As I say, Kalila's quite often a favourite of mine. I've kind of noticed that, as I say, sherry casks are something that I enjoy more and more of these days. I think Kilkerran seems to be doing stuff for me at the moment.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of their tastings at the Glasgow Whisky Club, a couple of their bottles, should I say, at the Glasgow Whisky Club, and yeah, it seems to be pretty tasty. Yeah, I think that's probably like my favourite three would probably be like Loch Lomond, Kalila, and yeah, at the moment probably Kilkerran. So I think it's probably top three for me at the moment.
Yeah.
What about yourself? What do you normally go for?
Yeah, I'm quite. I love everyone who watches regularly will know I love an Ardmore.
Nice.
In single cask form, or in indie bottling. Colila's always a great one, but I think I'm kind of, if I had a choice between Colila and Kilchoman, I'm probably on the Kilchoman side just now.
All right. Yeah, interesting.
I do love a sherry bomb. Although my favorite whiskey at the moment, and I'm taking my time on this, is right here. This is going to be my next pour. Is David Stirk's Ben Innes, the 13-year-old in a port. I love a port cask. So this is kind of what I'm ending my blethers on for the last couple of weeks, and it's cool because it restricts me and it expands the bottle, elongates the whiskey. So I'm going to pour this one for me tonight. We have Kat back in the room. Hello. You kicked the kids off the internet.
I did. I went marching through. Who's on the bloody internet? Get off the internet. It's like dial-up. I don't know what's wrong with my internet. Anyway, it's an ongoing saga. Usually between 8 and 8:30, I will just disappear for a good, 5-10 minutes. But yeah,
so you walk into a bar, Kat. You walk into a bar. What whiskey are you getting from the bar?
That's a difficult one. I mean, I always like to look for something different because, my thing is, I like to try different whiskeys. So, I'll buy a bottle, and as long as I've tried it at least once, I'm really happy to just pop it away for a while. But I always want to try something else. But I think I go to, for me, is always Kilchoman. I love Kilchoman whiskey.
Yeah.
So I'm always happy when I find one of those sitting somewhere. I just think it reminds me of living on the West Coast. So I used to live on a very small little island off the southwest coast of Scotland, and Kilchoman always reminds me of that. So, so yeah, if it's not there, I'll always look for something a bit different, a bit fun. I always like if there's if you get a good suggestion from a member of staff, you ask the person behind the bar, and they give you a good suggestion. I always think that's a good way to go as well, because it just introduces you to something a little bit different.
I tend to do that with cocktails. So, I'll say, I like this, this, and this. What can you do cocktail-wise for me? Rather than looking at a list of cocktails where sometimes I haven't got a clue what that spirit is that's in it or whatever, I'd be like, I like fruity and I like fresh. What can you make me?
It was.
So I went to a beer festival on Saturday, and I don't like beer, and everybody wanted to give me an opinion of what the beer would be that I would like. I mean, to be fair, I kind of forgot what half of them were after halfway through, but the server at Brewdog, I told him it's the same. I like fruity. I don't like sweet. Things that are kind of maybe a bit drier on the palate, and he nailed it. He chose me a beer that I actually liked. to be fair, like, you know, it was about 10 o'clock at night. I drank about 8 pints by then. So, like, you know, I'm not going to remember what that beer was, but he definitely nailed it. So it's a skill if you can pick it up.
That was good.
Dave Hagson, who's watching on YouTube, mentioned that he was in the Sandman Hotel. I don't know if you know the Sandman, Libby. It's in Aberdeen. Well, the Aberdeen one. They've got a whiskey bar. And just, I think it was back when we were touching on cocktails and stuff. He said he walked into the bar and asked for 4 whiskey cocktails using the Glenmorangie Signet, and just left the barman to make 4 cocktails for him. So
nice.
Quite cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I had a great tip.
Cool.
I can't remember if it was Mark Thompson or Stuart Buchanan who told me this tip. Is he said, find your favourite whiskey on the bar, so whether it's a Glenfiddich 12 or whatever it is, and then pick the whiskey that's 2 to the left as your first dram. It was like, that's quite a cool way of doing it. So I've done that a few times. It's fine, and that's why I think it was Mark Thompson, because the Glenfiddich 12 is what sticks.
Yeah.
It's.
Say that again.
I think it was Kenny Dramore. I'm sure it was Kenny that said that. I think it was Kenny from Dramore that said that's what he does when he goes into a bar. He'll choose the most obvious one and then go to go too long and look for something a bit different. Sure, it was Kenny.
If I'm totally honest, when I'm going to a bar, I don't really tend to drink whiskey. I am more of a pints kind of gal. Okay. I've been drinking a lot of whiskies at, let's say, the tastings and stuff. I mean, if anything, moving to Glasgow, I've drank an awful lot more whiskey than what I did at Spirit of Yorkshire, just because it's so much more accessible around, in Glasgow. But yeah, all the tastings and stuff, I've never been to a tasting where I've had the whiskey before, always trying new stuff. So I've really enjoyed doing that, really, really enjoyed it. There's an Irish whiskey club in Glasgow that happens at a pub called Malone's, completely free to attend. Okay. And you just go, have pints of Guinness, drink Irish whiskey. And it's like whiskies that you'd never think to try yourself, It's a really good way of like learning and trying different things, all for free, which, as I said, doesn't really tend to turn out as a free night because Guinness. But it's really good fun. It's just so much in Glasgow whiskey wise, it's madness.
I know. I'll have to. Whenever I go to Glasgow, I go and meet a pal, and you do a concert at the Barrowlands at least like once a year, because she's Leith and I'm Aberdeen, so like kind of Glasgow's like a halfway point. But she doesn't drink, and there's so many bars in Glasgow that I want to try, but I'm like, I don't want to make her sit in a bar just because I want to go and see the pot still. So she's like, no, we'll do something whiskey related next time. So it'd be good to go and see some of the bars in Glasgow and see what it's all about, because I think everybody always says you've got to go to the pot still, but I've never been, so I'll have to go.
The Bonaccord seems to be where we kind of end up, if I'm honest. The pot still's always so busy, which is obviously a good thing. But it's a much kind of like smaller bar than the Bon. But yeah, I mean, obviously both are amazing. I think there's a lot more kind of, you look at the pot still and it just seems to be like more whiskey on the bar because it's so much more compact. But they're both great for a pint of Guinness. So either or, I'm happy.
I do. I like the pot still because they have a Pilsner on tap, Kelvin Pilsner from Drygate in Glasgow, but it's gluten free and I'm celiac, so that works for me. So,
yeah, ticks the box.
Yeah, because I know they've got that. That's I love the Bonaccord, but when I want a pint, that's
I see what you mean. No, that's good. I think they're all great. I think both teams are absolutely amazing. Can't forget the Piper either. I don't know if you've the Piper.
That one Whiskey Bar of the Year, was it last year?
I think so. Yeah, great team. Gillian's amazing. They've just kind of done their upstairs. Yeah, it looks great. So yeah, we're definitely spoiled rotten for whiskey bars in Glasgow.
That's cool.
Rick Johnson was in the Bonaccord and had a riot. Oh no, he had a malt riot. I thought he just had a riot.
A riot.
For the first time, he had that for the first time last year.
Nice. No, we've got a nice little, like, I think with the new releases that we did at the back end of February there, we were kind of just overspilling to 2 shelves in the Bon Accord. We have 1 shelf and it was just kind of, there was another 2 bottles on another shelf as well. So yeah, lots of our whiskey there, lots of whiskey. Got our own little spot in the pot still as well.
Nice.
We keep good friends with both of them. So and again, the Piper have plenty of our stuff as well, which makes sense, I suppose. Glasgow whiskey and Glasgow whiskey bars.
Yeah. Would you, or do you work with independent bottlers? Have you got any casks out there?
Yeah, so we've done a couple in the past. We've actually done one with Claxton's, I believe. They've got one of our bottles. The North Star did one of ours. There was an SMWS bottle of that had been done at Glasgow, 2 different ones, and a couple of others as well, I'm sure. Is it Fen Thompson whiskey? Is it? I think that might be it. And then Fisherman's Retreat, is that one as well? There's a couple for sure. We've definitely got. Turns out Cadenheads have a couple of our casks as well. We asked them on Monday, so yeah, there's definitely indie bottles out there for Glasgow.
Nice. Oh, excellent. Super.
Really cool.
Awesome.
Lots to come.
Yeah, exciting times.
I just noticed it's 20 to 9 and your distillers are going to be kicking you out.
They start kicking me out, I know.
Thank you so much for coming along, Libby. It's been wonderful.
No worries. Yeah. Thanks for
really
having me.
You're welcome back whenever. It was really good fun.
Good. Thank you.
It'd be great to catch up. Hopefully next time we have a dram, it'll be in person and you're not driving.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed. I know.
Yeah. And I can't wait to get the liquid on our shelves.
Yeah, amazing.
Excited about it.
Yeah, I'll catch up with you on that. Amazing. All right. Well, yeah, thanks very much for having me. The jam chat was great. The whiskey chat, not so much. Much prefer the jam chat.
Yeah. But, sometimes whiskey gets in the way of jam, doesn't
it? Awesome. Thanks very much, guys. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Right.
Libby.
Thanks.
Take care. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
So, Kat, who's on next week? Who do we have?
So next week we have got Neil Ridley. So Neil is an award-winning author, and if you have got a whiskey book at home, chances are it's been written by or co-written by Neil Ridley. He's written a lot of whiskey and spirits.
He wrote the top 50 jams of the world was his big seller, wasn't it?
It is, yes. It's his most famous work, but he likes to talk about his other works, marmalades, chutneys, and other preserves. And whiskey, yeah. So and he's appeared on TV quite a lot as well. So he does he presents things on Sunday Brunch often, and he writes for quite a lot of the whiskey magazines. So you've probably read his work at some point. He's a really, really interesting guy, nice guy to talk to as well. So I think we'll have lots of good stories. And I saw he was over at Port Ellen recently, so I think he's written something about that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he'll have lots of interest.
And you've warned him of what to expect, haven't you? We're not Sunday Brunch.
Yeah, I mean, we've met, so I don't think he's going to have high expectations. But yeah, I mean, hopefully he's not watching tonight and then thinking about how do I cancel politely.
God, I'll have to research my jam, my toast, and whatever else. Just before we go, Willis, if you are still here, he's just asked what I am drinking, and it's the 13-year-old port cask Benrinnes from Stark Brothers. That's what's in my glass there. It is really dark.
So dark.
But such a good whiskey. So that's what I'm finishing the night off with. Finishing the Blether off with. The night is still young.
Yes.
But, thanks everyone. Slán Javad. Hopefully we will see you again. next week, if not before. And enjoy your weekend. Enjoy whatever whiskey is coming your way next. We will say good night and cheers.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.